Hi, I'm Bob Reeker from Lincoln, Nebraska, and I'm one of the co-directors of the Online Art Teachers K-12. I'm joining you today because we received an amazing award from the Art Education Technology Interest Group. Wow. When I opened up that email a few weeks ago, I was dumbfounded. I couldn't believe that we were being recognized for our community service through this award. It just has been a joyous thing for both myself as well as the founder and my co-director, Dr. Trina Harlow. So we're joining you today to say thank you. And I just want to share with you a little bit about what OAT K-12 has been. Behind me, you might see on my bulletin board, because I'm in my classroom, because this is where kind of the magic happens. You see the word resiliency. And I think that's a term that we've all learned to embrace and understand as part of what we're dealing with over the last year, this idea of being resilient through really uncertain times. And that's why OAT K-12 was formed back on March 11th, 2020. This was the brainchild of Dr. Trina Harlow, who's at Central Arkansas. And she just decided overnight that after talking to people around the country, we needed an online group to really support the changes that were going to be happening in education across the United States and literally across the world. That's what this group has become. So the next day, after she thought it through, she contacted many of us. I was very fortunate to be one of the first ones she contacted, and I came on board right away. I knew the need was there. So she gathered about 7 of us together just to kickstart and get things rolling, formed the Facebook group. Google Drive folder was created right away in order to have lots of resources for people to be able to access. And then we started going to work. We established what our rules were going to be on our page and what our mission was. And we just wanted to make sure that everyone was on the same page as we move along. Dr. Harlow likes to say, we're doing social media differently. And so we've really tried to be that positive movement on social media as we progress throughout the year. Eventually, we had additional team leaders join us as the years progressed. We created a website that has become kind of our hub of where a lot of our information is located. We've held 2 conferences. The first one in April of last year was all about what OAT K-12 was about. And then in June, we turned around and we had our summer camp where we focused in on all the different curriculum and instructional needs that would be happening in the fall. And ever since then, we just continue to grow. You know, we were so excited when we hit that 10,000 members. It was incredible. And lo and behold, here hopefully in the next few weeks, if not sooner, we're going to hit the 20,000 member mark. So we're excited to see where our need is going to be in the future. We don't know where our group is going to go, but we're talking to people, and the team leaders are coming together to decide what needs to happen as we continue to be uncertain about what the future is for art education across the nation and around the world. One of the things I was asked to speak about was this idea of this service project. I got into education many, many years ago. In fact, I remember at Christmas time, my 6th grade year, looking at my family as I opened up gifts for art supplies and writing supplies, and I announced that I was going to be a teacher. Wasn't sure what it was going to be. If I didn't go into art education, it probably would have been literature and writing, because I really love that part of my life as well. But then and there, I kind of established this idea that I was going to be a servant. I was going to try to use the talents that were given me in order to help others, whether that be children or adults. And that's really what OAT K-12 and this service project is all about. How do we take those things that we're maybe good at, or the things we want to get better at, because we all can be doing that? How are we resilient? And how is it that we provide those supports for those 19,000 plus art educators out there that are doing really hard work every single day? We try to build hope. We try to encourage people to keep going. We acknowledge that they're challenges and they're hard, and it's okay to have hard days and sad days, but we have to keep going. That's part of what working with youngsters is about, and it's part of what being a human being is all about. So we want to thank the Art Education Technology Interest Group for this amazing award. We don't do this work for awards, but when we're recognized, it's much appreciated. So we're going to turn this over now to Dr. Trina Harlow, who has a few words for you as well. Thank you.
I want to thank the National Art Education Association, Art Education Technology Special Interest Group for this outstanding community service award. I can't think of an award that would ever mean as much to me as an award for community service. So thank you from the bottom of my personal and professional heart. It was quite a surprise to get this award. I know we got this award for the work that we're doing in the Online Art Teachers K-12 group. Probably the reason the award means so much to me is because we didn't create the group to win an award. We created the group to serve art educators across the United States and around the world during some very challenging times. I do think that when I woke up on that morning of March 11th, after a fitful night of sleeping and seeing posts from teachers up in Washington State, just frantic that their schools were literally closing the next day and they weren't to come back in the building, I knew that logic said that the virus would probably be moving my way. I was geographically centered in Texas, where I've lived for 34 years, and I've been a Texas school teacher for 20 years. I knew that I had some time, and I had the professional experience. I had skills in my wheelhouse that could help these teachers up in Washington State. And so that's how Online Art Teachers K-12 came to be. We are a service organization. I've called it a service project since March 11th by art teachers, for art teachers in uncertain times. So thank you so much for honoring the work that 19.2 thousand art teachers are doing together in Online Art Teachers K-12 from 120 countries. Our analytics show that on any given day, we have from 12 to 15,000 members using the page. I just can't get over those analytics. So thank you so much for I know Bob and I are receiving the award, but we know it's really for all of these teachers working together in Online Art Teachers K-12. We're very excited to share it with them. You know, community service has been very important to me since I was a child. I grew up in a very small farming community of 54 people in western Kansas, and I was taught the importance of community service from my parents and through service in an organization called 4-H. I learned service and leadership in 4-H. I learned how to treat people right. I learned how to treat people right from my parents and also through my church and activities associated there. So from the beginning of my teaching career 20 years ago in Texas, I have brought community service into my classroom. My students have raised pounds and pounds of pet food for pets that were brought all over Texas after Hurricane Katrina. I've driven students to a warehouse to sort out donated clothing that was going to victims of a Gulf tornado. I raised money for a water well in Uganda with the help of my school when I returned from teaching in Uganda. And then the following year, we raised money to put a well in the village where the school was located too. So there have been many, many, many times in my professional life and my personal life where community service has really made my life so much better. When we serve others, we're really the ones who reap the reward. Of course they do, but by serving others, we also, I believe, become better people. There's a song called People Who Need People Are the Luckiest People in the World. I don't know if you know that song, but I sang it as a kid. And that song really had an impact on me because people that really care about other people and what's going on in their lives are the difference makers in this world. And they're the difference makers in art education. I think that it is so important for us to serve others, to teach our students to serve others. We call it service learning now, but forever we've called it community service. And I just want to thank you all for this award. I want to thank our team leaders real quickly because we work together every single day. The team leaders that have been with us since the beginning are Bob Reeker, of course, who's also now co-director, and Kate Miller from Kansas, Randy Robart from Ohio, and Dr. Ackerman from Indiana. Indiana. And then along the way, some other team leaders joined us, and that would be Jane Montero from Michigan, Danny Bryant from South Carolina, Christine Wellman from the island of Bermuda, Holly Bess Kincaid from Virginia, Caitlin Johns from Maryland, and Evan Thomas from New Jersey. We couldn't do it without this group of dedicated team leaders. You wouldn't believe what goes on behind the scenes on social media. So thank you, AET, for this award. Thank you for everything you do for art education.